Namaste. My name is Prashant Joshi. I'm on behalf of my wife Manju Joshi. We are presenting here. We're privileged to be presenting at the Waves Conference 2022 on ancient science, practice, wisdom for management and leadership. Uh, we are here from Austin, Texas. So let's get started. So, what are we presenting in this paper? The paper that we have submitted, basically, we are showing the ancient science, practice, and wisdom is very relevant for today's times, is needs for today, tomorrow, for self and societal transformation. We have all the tools, science, and practice needed, and we take two exemplary leaders as examples from ancient times to relate their leadership for today's and tomorrow's needs. We know these names very well. We worship them, but we don't look at them necessarily from leadership and management perspective. And what comes out of this paper at the end of the day is six universal leadership attributes, and they are all about practicing in today's and tomorrow's times in any situation, whether you're in a boardroom, a conference room, a classroom, or a homeroom. So in all walks of life, this is relevant and applicable, and that's why we are excited about it. So, who are these leaders that we are talking about? Well, these names do not need any introduction, but let's look at them from the perspective of management leadership. So again, Sri Rama, the hero of Ramayana. Ramayana, what one attribute that comes out: level-headedness, even keelness. Also, the exemplary servant leadership, and he served his father, he served his basically praja, the people, and he was considered it was considered Rama Rajya, and he was very sensitive to people's needs. So he was a consensus builder. So those are the kind of attributes that we start seeing, that he was very sensitive, thorough, or aware of people's needs, and that's why a good leadership or good kind of a institution is called a Rama Rajya. And what was he known as? He was known as Maryada Purushottam. So he was again limited. He put limits, boundaries around him, and he was considered Purushottam, the great person, but with Maryada, in that way. But now we come to Lord Krishna. He was considered a Yogeshwar, king of yogis, and he's the hero of Mahabharata. And what is the one thing that comes out right away is, of course, the complete enlightened being, fearless. He stood up to his own uncle, Kamsa, to uphold the dharma. And of course, he took the charioteer's role in Mahabharata to take the Pandava side, the dharma side, to fight the adharma. And what is he known as? He's known as Purna Purushottam. So again, we just take these two exemplary leaders and see what attributes come out of it. So, in considering the time here, that we are again going to take a big picture approach, but what are the six universal attributes that we come out of this from leadership perspective for today's and tomorrow's needs? Now, we all know how to spell leader. Even a 5-year-old knows Leader. But what is L all about? Considering this ancient wisdom. And we say L is for level-headedness, even keelness that we saw in Rama, for example. And what does Bhagavad Gita say? It says, Samatvam Yoga Uchate. Evenness of mind is yoga. So the very definition of yoga is applicable here in terms of we imbibing those level-headedness that comes very handy in crisis, right? Hot-headedness, yeah, you may need it, but that's not a sustainable leadership attribute. So this is a sustainable leadership attribute of level-headedness. The second one is efficiency. Again, the definition of yoga there is yoga karmasu kaushalam, as Bhagavad Gita says. Efficiency in action is yoga. So now you can see that within a boardroom or a classroom or managing a household, efficiency is important. Efficiency of resources, with time, and so on. Next comes A for aware, very important attribute. As we talked about, sensitive. This is where the empathy comes in. So taralta is a Sanskrit word of sensitivity, that you're aware. Daring, D for daring, dhairya, and again we see the courage of Rama and Krishna, and something that we can all attribute, take those attributes and practice in our own lives. Exemplary. At the end of the day, leadership is about putting something in action. So it's Arya Acharan, we say. Now we don't call a teacher Vicharya, we say Acharya. The one who does Arya Acharan is an Acharya. So is your noble action that makes you a good leader. And finally, the punchline becomes righteous. Dharmam Chara. So as you can see, that Rama and Krishna both were righteous leaders. We all need righteousness in our day-to-day life to really be in the society as a distinguished member of the, basically the society. So these are the six attributes we come up with based on the ancient wisdom, what we see here. Now, how do we apply them in today's lives? So the same six leadership attributes, you see what does it mean to practicing them in today's world. Now we all know the leadership qualities that we talk about. There are TED talks about it. There's books about it. There's the positivity, humility, determination. Again, in the context of this ancient wisdom, what does it mean to be level-headed? How do we actually do it? And if you think about it, it's really about taking a deep breath and let go. When you let go, you're in the present. That's where the efficiency comes in. Again, you're being in the present, not lamenting in the past or anxious of the future. Being aware is about being open. You're aware of the sensitivity, the needs of the people, needs of the situation, and you're open. You're not closed with your ideas, with your actions, and so on. So, and then daring is about being bold. Taking, not trying to be a popular leader, but trying to be a righteous leader, taking bold decisions which not necessarily may be popular. So this is where the leadership attribute of being bold comes in. Daring is all about being bold, acting bold, as is necessitated by the context. And then exemplary, as we say, do what you say. Then you become an authentic exemplary leader. Otherwise, people don't value your word because your words and actions don't meet. And the true leadership, it becomes exemplary, is about do what you say. And then again, the punchline becomes righteousness. We all know the phrase, we say it, do the right thing. We say it to the children, we say it in our boardrooms as about doing the right thing in solving any problem. So again, we took the ancient wisdom, showed the ancient context, and now this is today's times. How do we actually go about doing it? And then what are the practices that come into play? And here is where again you see those six attributes. Now we are adding those practices that make you bring that attribute out of you. For example, it's like a small cocoon to a full-fledged butterfly. How do we transform yourself? So level-headedness is all about practicing pranayama, dhyana. These are the tools to become level-headed. We know the story of Valya becoming Valmiki, the dacoit becoming a Rishi. So we all have that potential in us to be level-headed. So it's sustainable leadership. Efficiency, how do we get efficient? Body-wise, asanas. Again, mind, pranayama, pratyahara. Pratyahara is putting the flaps on. That's how you're efficient. So you're not distracted. You're not all over the map. It's about being in the present, acting, and of course, dhyana is your basic tool. Awareness. Again, how do you build that awareness? When you have the steadfast focus, so dharana, dhyana. Empathy is about being sensitive to the needs. If you feel the pain of someone else, that's you're being empathetic. So that's your awareness. Again, daring, you build dhairya through pranayama. And when you take a deep breath, anxiety goes away. You become fearless, so to speak. So that's the quality of dhairya you can build by practicing pranayama, for example. Exemplary, what do we need here is dinacharya, your basic daily discipline. So you, again, talk what you say, rather walk the walk, talk the talk, so to speak. So it's about being exemplary, it's about following the dinacharya. 6 o'clock you do something, 8 o'clock you do something, 9 o'clock you do something. So this is again a discipline of a leader. And then righteousness, what are the qualities here? You have to listen. You need to listen to act with compassion. You cannot simply tell what to do, but you also have to listen so that you know what is the pain here. So this is how we are taking a progression from ancient wisdom to what the attributes mean for today's times and what are the practices you need. So again, we see here the science, wisdom, and practice together. So what are the outcomes do we get? We get a self to societal to global transformation with this ancient wisdom. Looking at the leadership, looking at the yogic practices. And as we know, better leaders, which means to better, healthier, happier people, whether in a company, in an organization that you're in. So it's all about better leadership, creating better leaders for healthier, happier people. And this is all well proven in today's terms. It's emotional intelligence, the EQ versus IQ. The higher the emotional intelligence, the better retention of the organization, the people, the happier the people. And you're talking about prevention of crisis, not solving a problem as an afterthought. Uh, so if you talk again in today's language, what's the CEO mean? We've defined it in the yogic terms as check ego out. You're a humble, servant leader with humility and so on. So this ancient wisdom, as you can see, has eternal value. It's not time bound. These you can practice these whether it's 2000 BC or 2000 AD, and you have the absolute tool here. Yoga is a great practical science for developing these universal attributes. And at the end of the day, talk is cheap, practice is hard. That's why this is all about practice, practice, practice. So this is kind of our overall thesis here of taking the ancient wisdom, putting them into practice in these yogic terms as a science and a practice. And hope this helps you see the bigger picture, that this is not something that these figures are not to be just worshipped in the temples, revered, but it's about how do you become a Rama, how do you become a Krishna. And as you may know, these very names, they mean something. Rama iti Ramaha. So you actually become that Rama, that people dwell in your presence. They love to be in your presence. Ramyate, Ramayate. You're pleasing the people. People are pleased by your presence. Akarshete iti Krishnaha. You're magnetic. You're charismatic as Krishna. So again, it's about getting those values and those qualities and attributes in you. So that's our paper here. That's our presentation. We thank you for the opportunity. Again, these are our coordinates here. Feel free to reach out to us and see how we can be of any help. But again, thank you for the opportunity. Namaste. Dhanyavad.